This episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You don't need to choose between price and quality. You get an amazing and affordable shave. DollarShaveClub.com is the answer. To prove how amazing their shave really is, right now, they're going to give you your first month free to join the club. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors right to your door for a third of the price of what the greedy razor corporations charge. Join the club just like I did and stop dealing with the drugstore hassle and battle the locked up razor fortress ever again. I've been looking damn good, right, Kev?
Yeah, Tim.
Thanks, Kev. Just go to Dollar Shave Club and pick a razor from their lineup of amazing blades. I've been using the Executive Blade with their Dr. Carver shave butter. I've never used shave butter before, but I'll tell you what, it's good. It's damn good. The blade just gently glides for the smoothest shave ever. See why over 3 million members love Dollar Shave Club. They're so confident in the quality of all their products. Now you can get your first month of the club for free. Just pay shipping. After that, just a few bucks a month. No long-term commitment. No hidden fees. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/gamescast. That's dollarshaveclub.com/gamescast. So topic 4, as always, brought to you by you over in the Kind of Funny forums. You can go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast topic and leave your topic just like all these people did. And by the way, this episode, yes, brought to you by Steven Insler.
We hope you're alive, Steven.
My dude. I can't believe he's still there.
Patreon producer
producing
Steven
this show
Insler.
like only he knows how.
And R.I.P.
One day I want to hear from him. I just want to know if you're out there, Steven Insler.
Why don't you reach out?
Just say hi. Just talk.
Well,
to us.
there are definitely a few people that are just not paying attention to their credit card statements. Because I did like a slew. I think I did 27 thank you videos or something last month, and then filmed them, and then Kevin very patiently filmed them, and I edited them and put them up. And you see like people watch them, but there's like always one or two people that like no one's like paying attention, and like one person in particular, like
Stephanie.
I'm like, are you okay? Like
we ask in the video, are you watching this? We never get a response.
Jeez, you got to look at your credit card statement. We don't want that. We like to make money, but we don't want money from people unaware that they're giving it to us.
But if you do want to give money, patreon.com/kindoffunny.
Yeah, we appreciate you, but I'd rather be honest about it.
All right. This question comes from Cameron Abbott. He has a couple questions. Number 1 is, Greg.
Yeah.
Are you still playing Galgun?
No.
Why not?
It's the same thing over and over again. I was like, this will be a fun playing game, and then I was playing with you guys for like an hour and a half, and I was just like, you know what? No, I've tapped out on tapping on girls' titties.
Yeah. You think
I'll never
get
tap
old,
out on
right?
tapping on girls'
Never.
titties ever.
Tapping on them titties.
Never.
Question number 2, also from Cameron Abbott. He says, have you guys heard of Pokemon Uranium? It's not a ROM hack, but a complete game. What are your thoughts? Yes, I've heard of it. I have not played it. That's a whole interesting thing with, Nintendo taking things down and all that stuff. And that's a complicated topic for another day.
Where's Pokemon Snap?
Who knows? Who knows, Greg?
The trash bin where it belongs.
Whoa!
Excuse me?
I'm only kidding. Or am I?
We'll never know. Colin Moriarty is a well of
Remember
secrets.
the advice earlier, Colin? The talk shit, good shot.
Oh, yeah.
We warned you.
Who's going to shoot me? Pikachu?
I don't know.
Little polygon Pikachu?
You're not afraid of him.
Good Lord. All right. Will at PSN_Raynall says, has Tim heard about the Crash Warped fan remake Crash Time Twister? What do you think about fan remakes in general? So these questions I'm going to kind of lump together.
I like it. I like what you're doing.
So Crash Time Twister, I have heard of. I think it's interesting. I saw some videos of it. It has a problem that I have with pretty much every single 3D fan game in that it just doesn't look good. And it doesn't play right. And the characters are all kind of sliding around in a really weird way that just takes you out of it.
Sure.
And it's like you've seen a lot of Sonic games do this. A lot of like, these people are trying to do something good, but it's like they're lacking the polish that's necessary for this shit to matter.
Yeah, they're amateurs. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. You're an amateur. Jesus Christ, I wouldn't even know what the hell the first thing to do if I was making a game.
Now, having said that, when you look at like kind of 2D fan games or things like Pokemon Uranium or whatever, I'm sure that's great. Like, I'm sure that's fine because that people can kind of wrap their head around that. It's a lot simpler and it's a lot easier to use tools that already exist to palette swap sprites or even create new sprites to do whatever. That I think people can wrap their head around. And, like 3D models are rough, even in CG, like even in movies and stuff. Unless you have top quality VFX house working on stuff, CG looks kind of shitty. So imagine with a video game where you have to animate all of that and there's so much shit going on, like that's going to be a bad time. But In a 2D game, you're gonna be fine, right? And with this, I have actually a lot of experience with the ROM hacks for Pokemon games back in the day, where they would ROM hack Ruby or Sapphire or whatever on the GBA, or more specifically Mario World and Mario World 2. I played through a whole bunch of like completed fan games that were just what now Mario Maker does, where you can just create your own Mario levels.
Yeah.
But they create these whole games that like actually had difficulty progressions and secrets and all these like different areas and stuff. And those are some of the best Mario games I ever played. There's one, Super Mario World, Super Demo World is what it's called. And it's up there, man. It's up there. It's better than I think a lot of the new Super Mario Bros. Games for sure in terms of level design and complexity. And they're games that are designed to just be hard, but still challenging and fun and deserved in their difficulties, where it's not just like there is the bullshit just Super Mario like impossible things where it's like, all right, that's not even fun. This is a game that is fun, and I highly recommend it. I highly recommend looking into it. Yoshi's Island had a bunch of ROM hacks that I got into, and those are great, and that's why the PSP is so good. Emulation, you can play all these ROM hacks. It's super easy to find. Have you guys ever done any fan games at all?
Yeah, a few. The most recent one, or one of the most, I guess it is the most recent one, was the Street Fighter Cross Mega Man game that Mega Man or Capcom basically co-opted because they forgot it was the 25th anniversary of Mega Man apparently. And they released it officially, and it was okay. It was like, I find a lot of these games, and when I would play a lot of them when I was a kid, it reminds me of RPG Maker games and stuff like that, and even Fighter Maker, which was a game, a little half-baked. Like, why bother? It goes back to the idea of like the Metroid game that was just taken down recently, which was basically Metroid 2 kind of like reimagined. I'm like, I appreciate it. I appreciate the thought and the effort that's put into this. I mean, there's a lot of talent put into this, a lot of time, and that's great. But what do you expect is going to happen? Like, especially if you do a Nintendo IP, what do you think is going to happen? Like, do you think they're just going to let that go? Like, that is their IP, and I do feel like some people get up in arms about, like, why are they taking these games down? It's like, because this confuses Joe Schmo out there who doesn't fucking know anything, and he searches for Sonic.
Pokemon Uranium.
Yeah, Pokemon Uranium. It's like, I guarantee you there are fucking people out there that thought or think that Pokemon Uranium is maybe real.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a legit game, and they, but it's not. It's not a Pokemon game. So, I like the spirit of it. It reminds, there was a lot of that kind of stuff because it was really to go into like the hex, I guess, in like 8 and 16-bit games. It was somewhat easy to, I don't want to say easy, but like you can manage like moving things around. I think that's how those Mario games were made or whatever, because it's all based on like a cloud in Mario and is basically just like a bunch of numbers, and if you put like H372 and then the next line 5532 whatever, it makes a cloud. Like, and so you figure that out and you put it in the, it's a little more complicated these days, and that's why like these 3D games you're talking about are just you need these talented people that know how to do what they're doing. So I think it's a cool scene. Dude, more power to you. I don't give a fuck, but I feel like it's kind of wasted effort because I feel like a lot of these games get taken down or people get sued or it's legal action or at least threatened legal action taken down. Like that guy that worked on Metroid for all those years. It's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? Wouldn't your talents been better used like to make a new game? You can clearly know what you're doing. So go make some money. I just think people have to kind of redirect those energies towards like their own IP.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I mean, well, when you look at a more professional level, I guess, and that's just because these are the games that made it, but you'd bring up the Street Fighter Mega Man thing. There's the Miss Pac-Man, obviously. It was just a hacked Pac-Man, and then Counter-Strike coming from Half-Life. Like, those are real big deals, and it's just they started as fan games. So
yeah, and actually, I mean, to your point, I believe Raven, which I think is still located in Wisconsin, which is an Activision studio, was founded, and they're up there because that's where id used to be around there somewhere. They were founded because they used to just hack id games and like fuck around with them. And then they became a real studio, So, yeah, there is, but that's a 1 in a million kind of thing, where, these guys might get noticed, but more likely than not, you're maybe not 1 in a million, but 1 in 1,000 or something. But you're more likely than not, you're wasting your time. But man, I remember RPG Maker. You use a Gex drive or whatever they called it.
Gex drive. Oh my god!
You can like transfer games online. People used to go on GameFAQs on the Gex drive lists, and then you could like upload your. People went fucking ham on those role playing games, man. RPG Maker was cool. Really cool idea.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Andelius asks, I'd love to see something on Deus Ex and this Human X design thing going on. that'd be cool for you to talk about that a little bit.
He's talking about open biotics and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's awesome stuff. So at Comic-Con this year, I hosted the panel that was Deus Ex in what they're doing with open biotics. And I'm saying it right? Why isn't it saying biotics? I always wanted, not bionics. Biotic. Right. I'm asking you just to make sure. Because now that I'm saying it, okay, biotics.
Yeah, bionic is the fusion of like a man with a machine, right? That's what it is. So it's bionic.
There's no T. It's an N.
Not biotic.
Open bionics.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all excited.
Good.
And that's what I was saying, right? Bionics.
Orange.
Well, there was a T in there somewhere.
I was making sure I wasn't. Anyways, open bionics. Yeah, so the idea there is this really cool meetup. The Open Bionics people are basically open sourcing appendages for people who don't have arms, don't have legs, or whatever. And the idea is that we were talking on this panel at Comic-Con at length or whatever, and if you needed an artificial limb right now, it's something egregious, right? They were saying it's really expensive and we're making it cheaper. Ours are markedly cheaper. And finally I asked them, like, what does that mean? And like, I guess they were saying ballpark, obviously these are all estimates. It was something between $60,000 and $120,000 for an arm, right? Mm-hmm. Something like that. And the one they had made for this girl we were showing, right? Who's this little girl who can use this now arm that's 3D printed, that costs $5,000. And so they had already been doing this for a while, Open Bionics, making these different limbs for people, trying to do this. And the reason it's open, right, is that it's open source. So they're putting everything they have up online because they're just a small team. I think, what was it, 5? I think they said
5 people.
5 people. They're putting all their stuff out there so that other people at home can go in and tweak it, make it better, share it back to them. They can continue to share it. The fusion of this comes, and they were, during the panel, both sides were like, we don't really know anymore, but basically they were talking about it, and somebody was like, well, this sounds a lot like Deus Ex, and then they all started talking about it and how it became this thing of when the writers and designers working on Human Revolution, it was very much like, here's where we think, human augments are going and artificial limbs and all this stuff, where it's going in 20 years. And in the time of starting that idea and working on what they were doing with Human Revolution, technologies kept growing by leaps and bounds, getting crazy, to the fact that you get to Deus Ex Mankind Divided, they're getting ready to put out. They'd already got to the point where this is now happening. We're getting there to the point. And so they had this little girl who was awesome, whose name is escaping me. Do you remember that song?
I don't remember.
I want to say Tilly, but that doesn't.
Tilly.
It is Tilly? Yeah. All right, Tilly. And Tilly's been blowing up now because they're going, like, during our San Diego Comic-Con panel, we talked about the fact that there was a Bionics panel coming, or a trade show coming up and all this different stuff. She was just at the White House with all this stuff, showing what it is and whatever. Open Bionics starts talking to Deus Ex, who talks to them. They're going back and forth about how they want to make these things cool, right? That since if we can 3D print these things, we can do it super cheap. Why not make them with style? Why not make them look cool and not just have them be a hideous hook or a giant, robot arm that costs way too much? And so it was that the team at IDOS started working with them, and on the panel was the artistic lead, right, who had basically sat there and designed the arm and the colors and what it should do and what it wouldn't do, and then showed it to them, and Bionics then makes that actually functional and how that's going to work and what it's going to be. And that working with them then influences the game, because they now see that, like, when you're having to do it in real life now, well, why would there be a screw there if it's not functional? And taking that all out and stripping that down so that when you play Mankind Divided, you are getting Adam Jensen the way that arm should look if it was going to be a prosthetic for somebody and put onto somebody. And so the Comic-Con panel really felt like their first step out, in terms of, at least for me, in terms of, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it. And then, now it has been this thing where it's getting all sorts of press because, they were just the White House talking about it. And it's amazing to see, right? Because it's not implants, it's not, and they definitely think they're going that direction when you talk to the Open Bionics people, that they're going the direction of, one day, yes, it's going to be like Mankind Divided. It's going to be like the Deus Ex universe where we can do that. But right now it is just sensors, because Tilly's arm, I believe, is just below the elbow gone. And so the muscles are still there. So they put sensors there, and so she can sit there and flex it. And
it was crazy. It was like, it was this hand, and she could pick things up. Like, she was picking up bottles and stuff. And it's like, it's unbelievable.
I mean, it's to the point that, like, you see, I put up a photo at the Comic-Con panel with her, and what she does is, she always does is the OK symbol and puts it over her eye and, looks out. And it's like, that's the level of control she has, where she can control it on a finger basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was very impressive. And going back to you were saying the price of $60,000. Like, not only is the jump from $60,000 to $5,000 like a huge deal. That's $60,000. This girl was like, what, 7, 8 years old?
Right.
She's growing.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's $60,000 that you have to keep getting new arms, like consistently new hands and
Yeah.
whatever. So it's like the fact that they are getting to a point that this is a technology that is affordable.
Yeah.
You know,
And you talk to Tilly about it, like what she's excited about, right, is that one day it's going to be she opens her closet and there are 30 arms there and they're colors and she can put them on and whatever her outfit for the day is going to be, she has an arm that looks like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
she can buy a cool blue jacket and wear a cool blue arm.
No, she'll buy a cool green jacket like that.
No.
I was gonna say real quick, it's incredible that like that's really expensive. $60,000, $120,000 expensive. I would have thought it would even be more than that.
Yeah.
So it's incredible that they're able to get it down. Like if someone was like, you know, you lose your leg and they're like, we'll replace your leg for $100,000. I'd be like, that seems like a steal, you know? Like, so it's incredible that they're able to get the technology down to this point and you do open sourcing, which I think is really smart too.
If you're interested,
it's a very kind thing because a lot of these guys that have the know-how, by the way, to do this stuff, not to interrupt, like,
no.
they can make a fucking mint, man.
Oh, 100%.
And like the fact that like you don't do that says a lot about your character, I think.
If you want to know more, jump over. It's openbionics.com or at openbionics on Twitter.
And opening up the technology, by the way, like Google does with a lot of their stuff, means that everyone riffs on it constantly, and then you actually, you know, you crowdsource it and you peer review it, and it gets to better places quicker. So I think that's really cool too.
Yeah.
But I had no idea when I've seen these bionic limbs and stuff like that. I honestly thought that these were $500,000, $1 million. Like
I'm sure some of the ones you've seen are.
Yeah.
They're talking about the low rung one, your base model. What is it going to
it's
be?
incredible. It's just incredible that they can attach a machine to you, and you can control it with your mind.
It's nuts.
It's absolutely
nuts.
fucking insane. We're really close to the singularity.
Joey Graber says, "What's the most useless controller button?" I mean, I feel like it's obvious. The select button.
Oh, that
The
is
select button can
yeah.
just straight go fuck itself. Because when you look back at just the history of controllers, right? Let's go back to the NES controller.
Sure.
A, B, necessary.
Yeah.
D-pad, necessary. Start button, necessary. Select, necessary for some games, but why wasn't there just a C button then?
Yeah, select was weird just in the sense that like a lot of early NES games, you had to use select to like actually select. Where you're going, then you hit start, and you never use it again. I always found it interesting in hindsight that no one really used the select button more. You know, like some did. But like Mega Man, for instance, I always talk about Mega Man, people get mad, but I think it's a good example. Like you press start to go through the menu, but you can't pause the game outright unless you're playing the original Mega Man. You can't do it. So why not always map actual pause to select for all of the Mega Man games? Or it was just this option that was there that no one used. I almost feel like it's not the controller's fault. I feel like it's the developer's fault because there was just not enough for the games to do. Some games did use it, but in modernity, I would say that on both consoles, especially on PlayStation 4, I think they really basically got rid of it and made it the share button.
Share button, yeah.
But then they replaced it with another useless button, which is the fucking touchpad. But at least the touchpad has more practical application. It doesn't need to be this massive thing on the controller. I don't know what
The touchpad can be broken up into 4 useless buttons.
It's true.
So yeah, I would say select is actually the obvious choice. I would say.
And in the second place, one of the fucking buttons on the Wii. Whenever you're playing with the Wii, there's always something where I'll be doing a demo for it, and they'll be using a nunchuck or whatever, and they're like, "Well, hit the ZC."
Oh,
or
there's a
some
little
bullshit.
small
You're
circular
like, what
button
fuck?
on the.
Is it on the nunchuck? There's the trigger,
C,
and then there's
yes,
the one
the
up there.
C.
And it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, well, fuck you.
Okay.
Fuck select.
I remember when I liked Wii at one point in my life.
I mean, you were drinking the Kool-Aid hard in that one. Never
Sure.
forget
I
it.
can't even, like, that just blows my mind. I didn't know you then. That must have been a whole different Colin.
Well, it's fresh off a GameCube, which was fantastic.
Well, I get it.
I really thought they were going to give us a new way to play, and I trust in Nintendo. I don't trust Nintendo anymore. That's the only difference is that I was up DS's ass like it wasn't even fucking funny. I played GameCube and GBA and NES and SNES and N64. I mean, there was Game Boy and Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Color. I mean, they never let me down. And then it took me a year for me to really accept.
They let you down.
Yeah, it took me a solid year for me to accept that we sucked. Like I was
so
really
funny.
hanging on until like late
Playing
2007.
all your third-party games on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Late 2007 was probably, I was like, I can't actually do this anymore. What am I doing? Yeah.
God, that's funny. Stuart Fox says, did you get on with Guitar Hero Live in the end? No. I had a lot of fun with it for, I'd say, maybe like 2 weeks.
I think I remember talking about this with you, where we had it like not talking to each other. We both did it where we played like 2 or 3 weekends. Like, it was like I came home on a Saturday and just played with it a bit.
And it's super fun. It's just it's a time and place situation where, you know, the rhythm games, they are what they are. They had their fun, especially the ones with the instruments. And, you know, Rock Band, like, and the original Guitar Heroes, like, we understand what that is. So that's just a way that we play games now. So adding another gimmicky
Black and
peripheral.
white,
It's kind of like, it was fun and I liked the challenge, but I didn't feel the need to dedicate as much time as it needed or deserved. I think that it was good enough to deserve it, but it just didn't grab me to I didn't want to.
That's the thing, like we talk about it, where like Rock Band 4, when they announced that and it was coming out, we all go like, oh man, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna look forward. And Colin and I'll never forget that day where I'm like, you want to play Rock Band? Came like, you want to play Rock Band? You're like, yeah, I do. We unplugged it and unboxed it and plugged it all in, and it's just a litany of like, it's not sunk right. This, and I'm like, fuck this. We're done. And then like sitting down to play it at GameStop Expo, we played 3 songs and I was like, that was a lot of fun. I am in no way in need of running out to buy Rock Band or play Rock Band when I get home.
So yeah, at GameStop we did, it was Rock Band, and this
Rock
is
Band
something
Rivals.
no one even fucking knows what the hell's happening. It's Rock Band Rivals is a new
mode
expansion
for Rock Band
coming out.
4. But it's new instruments because they're no longer with Mad Cats now. Now they're with
who the hell knows?
Fuck. I'll look that up.
Some other company that's going to go out of business.
80K or some shit. Like it was some weird letters, I think.
Okay.
Anyways, whatever.
But
it was
I shit on Mad Cats, by the way, but I actually thought it was a more shrewd move than it ended up being for them to do it again. I actually really thought that the music genre could not the way it was in 2006, 2007, 2008, but it could have lived again. And I was wrong about that. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong about that.
Andrew Taylor, aka Papa Drew Bear, says, do you guys think the launch of PSVR will be smooth or a mess in terms of launch titles and applications you can use with it?
Smooth.
Yeah, I feel like they got a fair amount of stuff coming out, like either at launch or throughout the rest of the year.
The danger is in 6 months or a year.
Yeah,
the danger is not at launch. Sony very rarely launches with a weak library. I mean, we even talked about I think the last time they launched with a like profoundly weak library was PS2. Which the library had a lot of games, but there was fucking nothing there. I was like, yeah, Fantavision, fantastic. Like Smuggler's Run, Summoner. Put a gun to my fucking head playing that game.
Street Fighter
EX2 or whatever.
Madden.
So I think PlayStation 2 was really the last time there was a weak launch library. I think PS3 had a pretty smaller, but they had like Resistance and MotorStorm and stuff at a launch. It's not a bad way to go. Vita, I think, has the best launch library of any PlayStation platform ever, and I think PSP had a pretty good launch too. Not nearly as bad
Luminous,
as PS2's.
bitch.
And then PS4 was good.
It did have Luminous.
Yeah.
So I think PSVR is going to have its library of games. You know what they are. It's going to be for you or not. I think the biggest danger is going to see how these games do, and then the marketing research they get and the data they research, the data that they garner that will play out whether this works or not beyond 6 months or a year. I think it's going to. I think it's going to be a slow burn. And as I've said before, I think that we're being small-minded in thinking about PlayStation VR, just VR in general, as a gaming application.
Well, that's the problem I have with this. Well, not the problem I have with the launch and what he's talking about is question, right? Game-wise, I think, if you're an informed consumer and you're paying attention to this, you're getting games. They're going to be experiences. A lot of these are going to be small experiences. Let's not get crazy. But he mentions apps. And I think that's where Sony's missing the boat on this, is that there's not going to be apps for it. You're not going to have it tied in. Like since it's PlayStation, an app has to be, native to it. It has to be ported over and brought over. And I don't think, when you see the fact of on YouTube, you can use your VR headset to watch specific YouTube videos that way. That's not going to be there on PlayStation VR, and that's a huge miss. And there's so many little things like that, granted, it's hard to go down and find company X who is making these small virtual reality things, make the app in the hopes that they will be there in 6 months. You don't know. Maybe they're going to get out of that technology as well. It would have been cool to see even a dedicated, curated PlayStation video app service that, hey, we're bringing in PlayStation VR things to this thing, approved people, but they didn't. And that's where it's going to be, where that's my big concern when I talk about it, and why I really think the fact people have to know what they're buying is they buy it and they just play their few experiences and then have to wait. They're going to see that on the shelf all the time. Be like, I wasted money doing that. I don't use that enough.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, I appreciate you and your time. Colin, Greg, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. This is a better looking jacket than your blue one.
Fucking hate you.